Well, for mainly, I've seen changes. I've seen the change in administration. Of course, we had Margot, who had been on there, I guess, 16 years when I came aboard. I did 8 years, and I guess 12 years. She had been on there 12 years. So you know, things were kind of put in a position that you try to fit in with them. And that was great. I mean, she was fun. Margot and I have different philosophies, but we have always remained friends. I like to think we were a little bit like Tip O'Neill and Ronald Reagan. We might argue during the meeting and during the philosophy, but I mean, during the whatever issue was up, and there was a number of issues where we disagreed, and but we would have a drink later. Now, wasn't what I'm sure Reagan and Tip drank. She drank wine, and I drank beer, but we got along fine, and there was never really the thing she did that I differed with. I saw that come from her heart. I mean, she actually believed him. She wasn't trying to enhance her own image or anything of that nature. And I hope she believed that that was true with me, because phoniness is something I have a hard time with. So I think people should be sincere. I sometimes go home and my wife will say, "You didn't actually say that." And I said, "Yes, I did. Yeah, that's what I felt like, and that's what I said." I've long held that government's job is public safety and public health. And when you go start fringing on other things, that's not just what government should do. Not in this country. I mean, there are, maybe in some countries that's fine, but I don't think so here. And then of course now we have our new mayor, Chris Serino. He's very good about listening to everybody and hearing their side, and he has a point to make, and he makes it in a very nice way. And we've had a couple of disagreements, but he just kind of looks over, and he knows I'm going to vote no when he wants something, and we're fine. We get along great. I had well, the food truck thing come up, and somebody wanted to bring it, and I was down at the bar. I said, you're probably talking to the wrong person, because, I'm not in favor of it being parked down here. We have a farmer's market, and it should be a farmer's market. The problem with all those things is you let one go, then pretty soon there's no room for the farmer's market. Well, we got a line full of food trucks, and so I said, I don't want to cut you off, but I'm not going to. I'm telling you right off, I'm having a hard time supporting that. And so they went to somebody else and got support. But now that is great, and he does move things along. Now, much quicker than Margot. Margot would, I think she'd love to argue as much as I do, so she would carry it on and on. But Chris lets you make your point, but he will do the same thing for the audience. I mean, when some people get up and they become very redundant. When you have 4 people in there and they're all saying the same thing, well, you're serving your own purpose, but you're not making a point with anybody. So I think he does well with that, and well, it's obvious that he's conducted meetings and so forth and before, so it's not like it's something new he's learning. So I love this town, and we talked a little bit brief earlier that when my wife retired, and I was eligible to retire. In fact, I retired 3 different times. We looked all over the country, everywhere from Colorado to Florida to actually up to Maine, but keep coming back here and say, well, there's no place better than this. I mean, we got a college, we got a lovely town, and I understand there has to be growth, but let's have a controlled growth. I don't want to turn this into a Glen Burnie. Believe it or not, most of the people that complain about some of the things that we do as far as growth-wise go are natives, but those people get headaches when they go across the Bay Bridge. I mean, I say you go over and live in Glen Burnie for 6 months and then come back here and tell me when. I don't want to even see us turn into a Middletown. My daughters went to school over in Middletown when they were in high school, and that town was so small then that you couldn't even find a place to take them to dinner. I can remember taking them to a truck stop one time because that was the only place that was over there. Now it's just one fast food and regular restaurant after another, and I don't want to see us turn into that. I don't want to stop growth. I really think we should do a fill-in first. We got a number of places that are in town before we annex anything new, especially for residential. One of the reasons I ran for the council was the person representing my ward. They were going to, I think it's the Cooper property that, I think Cooper owned it, I'm not sure, but it ran all the way out to Radcliffe Creek. And somebody wanted to come in there and build 300 or 400 houses or more with, restrictions. They just wanted to build this. And I said, wait a minute, you're going to double the size of Chestertown and you're not going to know what we're getting? So I actually ran against Mr. Johnson, as a matter of fact, Jim Johnson, for the council seat. And one of the big points I made was that, that's not good thinking. That's not good thinking. And if they develop Stepney Manor, it's in our comprehensive plan that they have to do that in a manner that fits in with what we have here. We're not going to have a 10-story apartment house or something built out there. And so, or at least they won't get one vote on that. I don't know how, I can't say for the whole council how it would go, but my biggest problem with the hospital is when they came before the council a couple of times and told us that they were not going to change anything. We were just selling to the University of Maryland, and we were going to save money on buying gowns and shoes in large quantities and so on. I thought, that doesn't sound right to me, but not going to change anything. You're going to keep the same services. And then they started closing down. I think if they would have came in right out and said, look, in today's economy, and what we have here, our population, we just cannot support certain parts of the hospital. But to tell everybody that they were going to leave it alone and provide all those things and then start piecemealing it down, put a bad taste in a lot of people's mouth. I can remember when they came in to make one presentation and the lady was leaving, I said, you're not doing a very good job of selling this thing. A lot of people don't believe you, and it turned out to be the truth. So, yeah, I did not vote for the marina. That was another one of those issues where I thought free enterprise, and in the first place, I think we paid way too much. It was getting ready to go to a fire sale because it was going to be taken over, and we paid, I almost think we paid twice what we needed to pay. But, and God love her, Margot said not a cent of taxpayers' money is going to go into that because we had a grant to help pay. Well, we had to borrow. It's cost us $50,000 a year since the 4 years we've had it, and that's tax-paying money. And when you have a town of 5,000 people and so it's hurtful, and but now that we own it, I want it to be a success, and the mayor is working very, very hard. I mean, he really has went overboard to do what he can get, the grants and so forth to get it going. But I probably lead the council in 4-1 votes, but that's okay. I mean, I listen to my heart, and I listen to my heart now more than ever because I think that I represent a lot of people who think a lot like I do. I'm a little bit more conservative than they are. I feel every dollar we spent, it's just like it's coming out of my pocketbook or out of my pocket. And you know what it is. So I really am very frugal. I like the word frugal. It sounds better than cheap, but I really do try to look at every dollar that the council spends, and I've questioned a lot of it. I'm one of the people that are authorized to sign checks, and Bill will tell you, I catch a lot of things there that I think that we can do better with. So I tell you why I waited so long. I think, I don't know whether we've hit on that or not, but I went through a couple of years where we had people on the council either running for re-election or running for the mayor's job. And the mayor, she knew she was going to leave. And the perception was that they were more concerned about where their support might be than what good for the whole town. You know, I like to take care of Ward 4, but I'm not going to sacrifice the town for Ward 4. I'm not going to let them do something that I think is detrimental to the town in general or the population in general. But I'm not sure that was true with what was going on the council. And it was a hard time. And as you and I talked beforehand, it didn't work because two of them didn't get reelected and one of them didn't get the office they were seeking. So I think the electorate's smarter than you think they are. I've actually had people come up and tell me that they don't agree with a certain issue, but at least they know that when you say it, that's what you mean. I mean, you're saying what for, and I think that's true. I felt that about, I guess my political hero was Ronald Reagan, because he was honest with the people, and they believed him. So I like to think that if I say it, it's what I really mean. I'm not saying something to keep from hurting somebody's feelings or something. As I said, my wife says, "You can't say those things," and I said, "Well, I said it." So.